Hey, you put on a great show. Locals, you got a lot of. Show us a lot of jewelry. This is what it is. I think don't do. Why is he having those words?
You want me to?
Yeah, I'm not really good with big crowd. I'm really happy everybody was first and I can correct.
It's a beneficial that. Over there, so.
Everybody can see.
Like.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's always like everyone's
I
like.
have gotten better. At most, I used to wait to. But yeah,
And you're telling me it's actually, you know,
like it's more, so it's fine. Not that. Once it goes beyond that, I can.
The art to make sure I want to speaking too, when I got into it, and I do presentations, and like, I thought it was just pretty pictures, you know?
Exactly. Like, we actually have a handy rep in New England. I don't.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Contractors and dealers, like, I do this, so I'm like.
Yeah.
Everything.
I think that's the benefit of Ryan, is that there's no shortage.
Alley, my fly and my. Slabs of. These are all stone fabricators, so I'd say about 80% of them are Turkish.
You guys are
For my name,
Yeah.
you know, and then just.
He's done.
All right, everyone. So we have Ally here from our mill. Oh, it's gonna be on both Biophilic design?
Yes, the presentation is on biophilic design. Modern Mill, if you're not familiar, is a 6-year-old company. We are based in Mississippi. The company was started by a family of 2 brothers and a sister. One of the brothers apparently went to college for plastics manufacturing, because that sounds like a super interesting topic to focus on. And because of that, he went to Germany, where he saw a material that was made from over 50% rice hulls or husks and PVC. That behaved like wood, and he was so intrigued that he decided to build a company around it. So he bought the patent and found a town in the city that had over 50% unemployment, so that he could create jobs in an area that had no other industry. That was one of the reasons I was drawn to the company. That and the fact that the material is sustainable. Rice hulls are non-compostable, so they just go into landfills. The US is one of the top 5 producers of rice, and we export the majority of it. So instead of throwing all of these rice hulls into landfills, and instead of using real wood, you can use acre, which will then take care of the rice hulls going into the landfills and stop cutting down of trees needlessly. So into the biophilic design. Obviously, it's copyrighted. You are receiving 1 AIA credit for this, along with a GCI. So if you have that number, please include that as well. Awesome. Yes, thank you.
No, I haven't.
So I'm sure everybody understands the premise behind biophilic design. Hopefully there's a couple of points that we touch on that might be something new that you haven't heard. But the learning objective being obviously to define what biophilic design is. Again, I'm sure you're all aware of that. Describe any of the benefits of whether they're psychological, economical, or environmental, and explain how the building products can mimic nature and natural materials for use in biophilic design, and identify certain materials, including a simulated wood product. Let's define biophilic design. So As you know, that includes all elements of nature, whether it's water, stone, wood, plants, lighting. The premise behind biophilic design being that humans evolved to respond positively to stimuli that signal shelter, food, and other necessities in that environment actually assists in calming us, whether it's at home or at our workplace. Okay, biophilic design, and by that I mean Stephen Kellert, it is if a design doesn't focus on aspects of the natural world that contribute to human health and productivity in the age-old struggle to be fit and survive, it's not biophilic. Given that the average person spends about 90% of his life indoors, it can be extremely beneficial to start incorporating biophilic design more frequently into indoor designs. So beyond stress, there are some stress reduction, there are some other benefits as well. Although biophilic design not only offers physical and psychological benefits, there are also economical benefits for employers and environmental benefits for everyone. In regards to psychological benefits, it helps to reduce stress. And stress hormones, as you know, cortisol then contributes to other illnesses and weight gain and such. It can enhance creativity by being in that environment, clarity of thought and increased focus. That's something I could definitely use. Connection and feeling included. Expedited healing, and there actually was a study done. There were a number of patients in a hospital in standard sterile hospital rooms that were in the study, and then they placed several patients into rooms that had biophilic design elements included. The patients in the rooms that had the biophilic design included actually did heal or recover faster than the patients that were in the standard sterile hospital room. Connection and feeling included, expedited healing, as I mentioned, and then lowering blood pressure. In addition to that, does everybody here remember the Menendez brothers? So I know it's off topic, but just in case you weren't paying attention, you are now. One of them actually is very well versed in biophilic design. He decided that if he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison, it should be an environment that's conducive to a human life. And what he said was, in studies where biophilic design was used in prisons in other countries, there's less aggression, there's less issues as far as behavioral issues, and they correct them. Whatever that term is, when someone is being corrected for doing something wrong, I cannot think of, but there was less incidents of that. Thank you. So it is beneficial in all environments, including prison. As far as economic benefits, that's really focusing on hospitals and employment. People that work in the office all day, if they're in an environment that makes them feel comfortable and connected to the environment, there's less chance of them leaving and going to another place of employment, fewer sick days because you don't mind being there as much as, you know, if you're in a place that's just kind of boring and uncomfortable to be in. Greater productivity because you're happy, you're going to be more motivated, and shorter stays in the hospital, as I mentioned before, which then reduces the cost to insurance companies and the end user. As far as environmental benefit, basically, when they include plants in the environment, that's really what they're talking about with purifying the air. Certain types of biophilic building products that are simulated building products can help to regulate temperature. Obviously, if there's help with climate change issues, it creates awareness by introducing outside in, and it helps you connect and appreciate nature a little bit more. A lot of people don't go into nature often, so having that in their daily life does help to connect with nature. And then also reduction in the building's carbon footprint as well. As we get into it, is it true that biophilic design is all about just putting plants in an office? No, not at all. A lot of these, by the way, are going to be redundant, so it's not me, I promise you. I did not make this. So obviously, in addition to plants, there are other elements that you can introduce. As mentioned before, water, stone, wood, and lighting. are all help to attribute to the feeling of nature being indoors. And given that natural materials can be pretty expensive and high maintenance, there are materials that will mimic these elements at a lower cost and lower maintenance. Solutions are, you can actually use a simulated product, including artwork. It does provide the same biophilic benefits as being in nature. So that also includes, again, being in the environment where there are actual plants versus the, it's not obviously have the air purifying qualities, but the calming qualities will be there with the artwork. As far as a simulated environment reducing stress, as I mentioned before, when you bring the indoors inside, it simulates a natural environment, which then our bodies naturally react to reduce stress levels and cortisol. So as this repeats everything I've said a few times, repeated sustained encounters with nature do help with our health and mental with yourselves. Okay. The biophilic design plans have to relate to human survival, as we previously mentioned. Repeated and sustained encounters where you are immersed in nature and fully integrated within the overall space. It fosters an emotional attachment to the setting that influences the occupants to care about the building. It fosters positive and sustained interactions and relationships among people and nature, making the occupants feel like they belong. Simulated nature can achieve the benefit of biophilic design. Art would be the most logical example of that. However, there are other examples. Biomorphic patterns also provide the same responses. The Fibonacci sequence and crystalline patterns can be used in tiles and wallpaper. Color, obviously, the colors in nature, the greens from plants, the natural wood elements help to create a biophilic design within an environment. Lighting, whether it's direct or indirect, obviously the indirect lighting, mirrors will help reflect natural light and also restricting the use of fluorescent lighting. Ventilation is also important. We all know how it feels to walk outside after being inside all day. We feel the breeze, it's a crisp, cool air. Variability of the air within space to match that of outdoors delivers the same calming effect. Plated wood is a top choice in biophilic design as it's tree-free. Wood-like products provide the same biophilic benefits as long as they look like real wood without repeating obvious patterns. In addition to Keller's criteria of the look of the products, it is also important that they're not harmful to humans, like VOCs. So the biophilic design product must be safe. It should be sustainable, meaning it's manufactured from a renewable resource with zero waste. It's recycled and recyclable and doesn't harm forests and the environment. It should also be practical, meaning it should resist rot, fire, pests, and weather. It should be easy to work with and readily available and carry a warranty. As far as choosing between real nature and simulated, if we are focusing on a simulated wood product. Real wood is costly. It can be high maintenance with having to be refinished, especially if it's outdoors. It has to be customized. When you order it, you have to take into account that not all of the wood is going to come in perfect planks. There might be some bore holes in it, and you won't be able to use various planks. And it's resource heavy. As far as simulated nature, it's competitively priced. It's extremely durable, low maintenance, standardized, easily scalable, and accessible. In regard to simulated wood products, there is a new category that is made from rice hulls, as I mentioned. Essentially, it's a tree-free product that is indistinguishable from wood from the naked eye. It's combined with a thermoplastic synthetic material, which lends itself to the lightweight and durable product. It's the next generation of composite materials and does have PVC for performance. If we find a bioresin, then that will be changed to the bioresin. But for right now, it's PVC. We're not tied to the PVC, but like I said, we're all in the process of creating a better product. So as of now, PVC is the other element to the simulated wood product. So what makes the simulated wood product unique is that it looks, feels, and installs like wood. It can be used under any interior and exterior application with the exception of structural use. It is not a structural material. The manufacturing process ensures that every board is straight and consistent. There is variation, however, at times with the intonation, given that rice hulls have various tones to them, and they are the primary element in the makeup. There is going to be some level of change, not a ton, but enough that you'll notice some shade differences, just like natural wood. This composite will not rot, splinter, warp, crack, or swell. Standard woodworking tools can be used with it. There's no special tooling like carbide blades or other tools that are needed for other materials. Simulated wood can be stained. Water-based stain. It will, we'll say with siding, last around 10 to 15 years. If it's machine finished, it can last close to 20 years. And this only being when something is machine finished, the chamber where it is actually sprayed is humidity controlled. It then goes directly into another chamber where it's baked on. So the pigment is held in there a little bit better than if somebody just rolls it on in their yard and wipes it off. So that's why we give it a little bit longer of a warranty with that. In regards to paint, it can be painted without the need of a primer. Given that it is a PVC composite, however, it does have to be a vinyl safe paint. It has to have a light reflective value of 55 or greater. And it will not lighten over the years. It will not fade. Once it's painted, it is that color. However, it can be refinished. If you needed to sand off the paint, sand off the stain, it can be refinished. It does look and feel like real wood, therefore, sometimes people have made the mistake of using wood adhesives. That will not work. It has to be a PVC adhesive. For interior use and exterior use, hardware that is galvanized steel is preferred inside. Obviously, there's not going to be the same level of exposure to temperature changes. However, I'm one of those better safe than sorry. So galvanized steel, weather resistant fasteners are best to use. You can use a pocket drill. It does not spin out, does not melt like plastic or PVC. Various sizes are available, trim, panel, decking, siding. And as far as the sheet goods are actually used for the board and batten along with the trim goods. So not having a specific board and batten, it would be those two products used together. Third-party testing is done with a clean air gold, provided it has no VOCs released, phenol, formaldehyde, or adhesives. Third-party testing for moisture as well, stands up to moisture and rot. Termites and pests are actually deterred, and the reason being is rice hulls are a natural deterrent for pests. That's what keeps the grain safe. Therefore, it's going to be the same type of deterrent when it's used in a product for siding, trim work, decking. It can be thermal. So at a heat, we'll say around 145, this can be used with a heat blanket or heat gun. It can be thermoformed. There is a company in Colorado that makes those ice baths. The sheet goods. It looks like wood. It's pretty. It's lightweight, and it can be used for the ice baths that are popular right now that I have not tried, but other people that are more adventurous than we have. Lower cost material, again, given that it's in competition primarily with wood, not so much composites, it's extremely cost competitive compared to tropical hardwoods. That being said, from what I understand, a lot of the tropical hardwoods are becoming less and less available. So eBay being one of them, there's difficulty with that. Given the timing, stepping in with a simulated wood product would be perfect timing for that. Lower cost maintenance, as I mentioned before, as I've said, a lot of this is going to be redundant. The simulated wood, if it happens to be damaged, you can repair it. You would repair it honestly the same way you would with wood. This is the only part that's different. You would use a wood filler or putty for any gouges that are not surface gouges. And what I mean by surface gouges is if someone was to drop something on, we'll say a table that was made from acre, and it just kind of puts a little indentation, but there's no breakage, then you can actually pop that out by using a heat gun because of the PVC in it. That actually will then expand back to limited lifetime warranty because simulated wood is made to last and not to be replaced. It is sandable, as I mentioned. It can be refinished, or at the end of its lifetime, it can be recycled. And again, standard woodworking tools can be used. Again, it's made from a byproduct of rice hulls and provided in a waste manufacturing, 100% recyclable and made in the USA. So I'm going to end the AIA now and get a little bit more into acre, the product. So although I touched on the key points, feel free to pass around the rice hulls, pick up the product, look at it. There's going to be some things that are key points that I learned just from actually contractors when I've gone to building sites. If they don't know what it is, they're going to have a little bit of difficulty adjusting because it looks like wood. So the biggest issue that we've run into is it being installed as if it was wood siding. Given that there is PVC in it, there's some special little tricks that are done so that it does not have the movement. It doesn't have as much movement as PVC. It has like up to 1/8 of an inch per board. But if those boards, that 1/8 of an inch is on both sides, it's going to be noticeable. So some of the tricks that the contractors come up with, like for instance, with siding, creating a scarf joint or cutting a scarf joint, gluing on the scarf joint, then gluing about 5 to 6 inches in and double fastening it will help alleviate that movement at entirety. There's other tricks as far as decking I can get into, like it has to be 12 on center, or else it'll be bouncy. If you look at the samples, the acre grain that is on the sample is actually not a skin. It's just created from sanding. So if it is sanded off, it can be recreated by using a 40 grit sandpaper one way and 25 the other. So if that's ever a concern that the end boards aren't finished for, we'll say like trim work where it had to be cut in the field, that grain can be reproduced if it's not being painted, if it's being stained. Anybody? Oh, and by using the product, it does contribute to lead flow. So you need that. That is also part of using acre. Does anybody have questions? Please feel free to talk, interrupt me. Like I don't want to.
I do. I have questions regarding what label class rating is?
We're a class B fire rating, and only because of smoke. It does not catch on fire, but as smoke is released. So given that the company is only 6 years old, we do have a lab within the mill where they're actually working on ways to bring it up to a class A, but currently it's a class B due to smoke.
We're running a bit of an experiment here with water.
It does get wet, so it will dry. I mean, like maybe it'll show that it's wet.
The question was, like, do you see the application used like this with a sealer finisher? Do you recommend the sealer for the material?
So to be honest, I would seal it. Our website's gonna say you can use it without a sealer, any type of sealant on it. But if you like the tone, a clear coat's gonna keep it from looking wet when it rains, because you're gonna see the rain. It'll dry, but you're gonna see it. Secondary to that, if you feel it, the little kind of like fibers that are sticking up are gonna catch all the dirt. So if you want it to look clean, it's just better just to clear coat it. Anybody else?
So it's, you said that this texture is created by sanding it, so it looks like this normally?
Yeah, I mean, it's sanded down, like when they extrude the sheets, because basically it starts its life all as sheets being extruded, up to 20 feet long, and then they rip them down into the various profiles. But yes, when they first bring it out, it looks kind of like a MDF, like a it's smoother than the side, so it looks more like an MDF.
So then when you, let's say you wanted to, stain this, you said it's not a wood product, so you would just simply adhere to the stain or the clear coat to it, no sanding.
Correct.
Beforehand.
Right.
They were doing
And I'll be honest with you, I've stained some of my own samples in our garage. It's super easy to stain when you're rolling it on and doing it in the large format. Obviously, having those grains, if you're using what they provided to me to wipe it off, it's going to catch on a little bit on the cloth. But
it feels like that. That's
yeah. I mean, like it
it's
does.
not supposed to feel like furniture when you're staining.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely not supposed to, because it can be used for furniture, but that's not the primary like focus of the use. And like I said, it can, and actually that little, I don't know if you saw it, we can pass around if you like, but there's a little fan. There's 7 signature stain colors. Those 7 signature stains, right now we're able to provide those pre-finished from the mill. However, any paint clear coat can be pre-finished. We have a pre-finish company in Gambrels. They're the ones that do the machine finishing. So if ever you're looking for pricing, it doesn't hurt to quote both raw and pre-finished. Certain contractors prefer to work with raw material. They feel like when they cut miters, they don't like that it's pre-finished in case they don't get those miters really close. You know, there's a lot of other reasons, but it doesn't hurt to price it both ways. And while I have you regarding pricing, if you are working on a project and you feel like this would be a great material to use, but there's something that's similar that you were thinking about, that price point is a little bit more along the lines of what you're looking for, please reach out to me. I've left my cards there. Ryan has my contact if you didn't grab one. We're able to give some rebates on the back end. The reason being is we feel like once contractors have used this and it's in their hands, they're not going to want to use anything else just because of the ease of using it. We want obviously for them to have as little issues as possible with installation. So that being said, I'm just going to show you real quick because I feel like it's beneficial for everybody because I get a lot of calls about, sorry, I guess I'll share my screen so that everybody up there can see. About technical information.
There is PVC.
That I think they'll teach me that specific on how, I'm sorry, but.
No, I'm just, how is this more sustainable? It's just,
Because you're not cutting
Petroleum
trees
product.
down instead of like for wood is where the comparison should be. As far as the sustainability, it would be in comparison to wood. The reason why the company named the product Acre is it saves acres of trees from being cut down by using a simulated wood product. And it is fully recyclable. So at the end of its life, it can be taken down and recycled. On the website, I just want to show you this because to me, anytime that there is information available, I want you to be able to access it. They've made the website really easy to navigate. If you just go to the support area here, everything is listed as far as the coding guide, like what the coding needs to be. All the already pre-approved colors of PPG, Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, custom, how to order special custom paint colors, approved stains, installation guides, technical information, So manufacturer's data sheet, European technical data sheet, brochures. So what you have in front of you on the table, both the product guide that lists all of the thicknesses, profiles, and lengths available. That is also available in a digital format here. Same thing with the lookbook, also here, and the little brochure. Some fact sheets if you needed that as well. Architectural tools here as far as drawings. And then customer support as far as the warranty product expectation. And there's some training videos. So in case you have a contractor that's like never reads anything, they can watch the training video. Any question right now? By chance? No?
About the recycling of these products, I'm assuming you have to have it sent back to
The mill?
the mill.
Yes. So what we do now is we have local distributors around these lots. We don't have like one standard distributor. So they're smaller companies. Our distributor in the Mid-Atlantic is Wholesale Millwork and Sherwood Lumber. So they both are prepared that if there is a need to recycle, if something is at the end of its life, they accept the material back and it goes down on the truck to the mill.
Send it back. And there would be no cost to the consumer.
Correct.
For that. So, but if by chance somebody were to tear down a deck or do whatever and take this and not realize what it is exactly and throw it into the landfill, then
The PVC won't obviously,
Yeah.
and neither will the rice hulls. Yeah, it won't compost.
fact that you can, because one of the things is to call it eco-friendly or a zero waste. Hinges on the fact that we have to send it back to the mill. to do
It does, yeah. And again, keep in mind, the company is in its infancy. It's a 6-year-old company. We're still considered a startup. So there are a lot of processes that are being created because of that. And in all honesty, they're amazing, but the owners don't come from a building background. So there's a lot of like learning and yeah. So if there's ever any suggestions, feel free to shoot an email to me because I can absolutely send them up the chain pretty easily.
Yeah, almost like, what's it, the cradle to cradle thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it really does. And I honestly don't even think that's necessarily intentional. It's just kind of the only way it can be done right now. But I mean, I'm sure eventually it would become profitable to start charging to pick up or something like that. But any other questions? Thank you guys for your time. You guys were great. I appreciate it. I'm not good talking in front of people, so maybe I can talk to anybody one-on-one, but like that, if I had to stand up, I'd be crying. So I'm glad you're sitting down. But like I said, if you have any questions, you can call me, text me, email me anytime. If it's something I can't answer, I can then ask, those above me the answer, and I'll get back to you. I know that reps aren't great at getting back, but I used to be somebody that had to use reps, so I will always get back to you because I find it really annoying when they would not get back to me. So thank you again for your time.
much.
That's big.
Oh, I should have said yes. Those are Cortex plugs. So essentially, if someone needed to face fasten into this, we have a little kit where it has ring shaped nails.
Yeah,
It has the little tool that reads the hole and they're stained right along with the stain. Yep, so you can't even see them in the material.
Like it's fun.
And it's really cool is this was something that actually one of my distributor reps told me. She said that a contractor told her that he put them in his cooler and they shrunk enough that they just kind of eased into the hole and not having to be like in his mallet and then stand. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.